Many Christians are subtly frustrated with Jesus. He never seems to really tell people who he is. Why does Jesus keep using titles like Son of God and Son of Man? Why can't Jesus simply say, I am God? This might sound strange, but Jesus did say, I am God. But he said it in a way that the first century Jewish ears would understand. The most important word, Son. Consider Matthew 3:17. And a voice from heaven said, This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Matthew 3:17, ESV. This is Jesus' introduction to the world. God could have used any possible descriptor of Jesus at this point. So why does God the Father start by saying that Jesus is his Son? To modern Western ears, being called Son doesn't mean much. We assume it means any male child. To our ears, every boy who exists is the son of his father. But to a first century Jewish ear, the word son was a precise technical term. You would never call someone a son until they had earned the title. If you could travel back to Israel in the time of Jesus and you asked a man on the street whether he had any sons, he might say to you, Yes, I'm proud to say that I have 3 boys and 1 son. By saying this, he is not declaring favoritism for one child over the others. Rather, he is rejoicing in the fact that one of his boys has finally become his son. As every male child began his life as a baby, he was considered a boy. He would enjoy his boyhood playing with his siblings and friends, as most children do. Yet there would come a point at which this young boy would be ready to leave his childhood behind and become a man. This would typically happen around the age of 12, 13, or 14, depending on the child. They would hold a ceremony called the bar mitzvah, which celebrated this young boy becoming a young man. He would now begin his life's work, often apprenticing to his father and learning the family trade. Once this boy had officially become a man, he could finally be called the son of his father. Why did he have to wait so long? Because of what it meant to be a son. To call someone a son declared that the son is what the father is. A boy could not be called a son because he was still a boy, playing games and amusing himself with toys, while his father was an adult man who was busy about his life's work. But as soon as that boy himself became an adult man, setting aside boyhood diversions in favor of his life's work, he could now be called a son because he and his father were the same. The son is what the father is. They are both adult males working their life's trade the way the language works. This carried over into common Jewish expressions. To identify a person with a certain characteristic or fate, it was common to say they were the son of that quality. In John 17:12, Jesus calls Judas the son of destruction, as Judas betrays Jesus. By this, Jesus was not saying anything about Judas's parents. Rather, he was stating that Judas's crime was so severe that he would unavoidably be destroyed because of it. The son is what the father is. To be the son of destruction meant that Judas's fate had been sealed. His destruction was certain. Likewise, when King David sentences a man to be killed, David calls him a son of death. 2 Samuel 12:5, Literal Standard Version. Most modern Bibles translate this into modern vernacular, saying something like, he deserves to die. But the direct Hebrew calls the man a son of death, meaning that the son will be what the father is, death. Every Jewish person in first century Israel understand it plainly. The son is what the father is. Therefore, when God the Father declares Jesus to be his son, he is declaring clearly and unequivocally that Jesus is what his Father is. God, they are one. They are both God. Or to say it More precisely, Jesus is the same God who has been worshipped throughout the entire Old Testament, and he has now taken on flesh to live among and redeem his people. The Son is what the Father is: eternal, uncreated, divine, all-powerful God. Everyone understood. This claim was unmistakable to the Jewish ear. When Jesus was arrested and placed on trial, the chief priests sought in vain for witnesses who could accuse Jesus of any wrongdoing. Yet they had no need of them. When they asked Jesus plainly, "Are you the Son of God then?" Jesus responded, "You say rightly, I am." They exploded with fury, declaring, "What further testimony do we need? We have heard it ourselves from his own lips." Luke 22:70. They held no doubt about who Jesus said he was. By stating that he was the Son of God, Jesus declared himself to be equal with God, to be to what his Father in heaven is. The Gospel of John makes it absolutely explicit, declaring this was why the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, because not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. John 5:18 ESV. The chief priests heard these words as blasphemy. Don't miss this. If being the Son of God meant anything other than claiming to be God, it would not have been blasphemy. Blasphemy means to speak words about God that are untrue. If being the Son of God meant that Jesus was a prophet or a gifted spiritual leader or a messenger from God or anything else other than claiming to be God, it would have been a mere disagreement. The chief priests might not have liked it or agreed with it, but it wouldn't have been blasphemy. Both Jesus' followers and Jesus' enemies realized that to be the Son of God is to be God. That's how the Jewish language worked in the first century. Jesus could not have claimed to be God any clearer than to say that he is the only Son of God. The Son is what the Father is. So is Jesus the Son of God? Yes. Is Jesus God? Yes. The two phrases mean the same thing.